I'm Kim Clary. I'm an autistic occupational therapist and public speaker. And today I'm answering a question somebody asked me about what are the effects of being diagnosed early versus later in life. And this question, it hits different depending on what angle you look at it. Mental health, independence, social skills, education, employment. There are so many ways diagnosis timing affects your life. I was diagnosed in my early to mid-20s. And I work with autistic people across the spectrum. I'm going to share with you what I see, and then I'll share a little bit of my own story. So I notice patterns, and what I've noticed is that people diagnosed in their 50s and older, they often question the first chapters of their life, and they struggle deeply with self-esteem, friendships, physical health, and mental well-being. People diagnosed in their 30s, they're really determined to better understand themselves. They get frustrated at their differences and at not having had support earlier. Many show really incredible resilience. Depression and other mental health challenges are common, so is anger. People diagnosed as children, some have more self-acceptance and confidence, some don't. It's not a guarantee. Everybody is different. Everybody has a different story. Here are some examples from people I work with. So one of my clients has profound autism and high support needs. He was diagnosed very early. He's non-speaking and types to communicate. He knows he's autistic. He's very aware of what he can and can't do that others can. He shares a lot of sadness and anger with me. I have another client who's moderate support needs and has intellectual disability. He was also diagnosed early, but he has no idea he's autistic. He's happy, confident, he enjoys life to the fullest. I work with someone who has low support needs. She wasn't diagnosed until her 30s. She struggles a lot with mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, feeling like she wasted decades of her life not knowing why everything was so hard. So where do I fall? I have moderate support needs, and I was diagnosed in my early to mid-20s. I'm in my 40s now. When I was young, autism wasn't well known. It also couldn't be diagnosed alongside ADHD, which I was diagnosed with at about age 6. So things like my learning disabilities, my mixed expressive receptive language disorder, my autism, all of that was undiagnosed until adulthood. My sensory challenges, they were noted from the beginning, but nobody understood what they meant. A lot of my challenges got attributed to behavior, and I acquired a lot of labels. Defiant, oppositional, conduct disorder, just misbehaving. My parents, they really did the best they could with what they knew, which was very little at the time. I'm part of the generation that fell through the cracks. Growing up, I knew I was different. I thought I was stupid, bad, defective, not trying hard enough. I took medication. I knew it helped me behave better, but I didn't even know about ADHD or that I had it until I was a teenager. I had no self-awareness into why I was different. I could see the effects I had on others. I could see how hard things were for my family. My self-esteem was really destroyed when I was younger. Without the right supports, my whole family struggled. At home, I had 5 or 6 meltdowns a day. That takes a huge toll on everybody. Vacations, holidays, after school, that was really difficult. Homework took me several hours every single night when it took other kids maybe 1 hour. I worked so much harder than everybody else just to keep up. Socially, I was pretty awkward. My challenges became more obvious around age 7 as I fell further behind my peers socially and emotionally. In 6th grade, my best friend was a kindergartner. In middle school and high school, my social circle were mainly kids who did same extracurricular as me. As a young adult, I ended up in and out of institutions. I collected false diagnoses like schizoid personality disorder, bipolar disorder, OCD. I experienced a lot of trauma, not from autism itself, but from not being understood, from being discounted, from people not knowing what I actually needed. But here's something that I've thought about. Not being diagnosed as a child might have forced me to develop some of my natural strengths more than I would have otherwise. I'm really good at finding patterns, like I mentioned before. I find patterns in language and behavior, in visual information, patterns in systems. I see and notice things other people miss completely. I'm very good at problem solving, not in the typical way, but in unique ways. I create my own solutions that don't yet exist. If the normal way doesn't work for my brain, I find another way, and another, and another. These are actual strengths that showed up in my IQ testing. They were also survival skills. I never gave up as a child. I was very relentless. Once I was diagnosed, I was able to get some of the help and services I needed, not right away, but over time. It was helpful to know that I wasn't stupid and that none of those labels that I'd collected over the years were accurate. It gave me direction. It helped me understand my neurology and why I did the things I did. And from there, I could figure out how to help myself grow. But here's the hard truth. Could an earlier diagnosis have helped? Yes, it most definitely could have. It would have helped my self-esteem. It could have prevented some of the institutions. It could have given my whole family support that they needed. But would it have prevented me from developing some of those strengths to the levels that they are? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What I do know is this. I can't say that I wish I'd been diagnosed earlier, because if I had been, I wouldn't be who I am now. I still struggle an awful lot, but I'm resilient, I'm resourceful, and I'm me. But here's something that I've realized, and this is really important. Whether you're diagnosed at 3 or 80, there's a common problem: the gap between child and adult support. A diagnosis absolutely matters for children. It opens doors: early intervention, speech therapy, occupational therapy, school accommodations. But once you turn 18, most of that disappears. Adult autism support is severely lacking. Ongoing therapy that actually understands autism, employment support, help with executive functioning, sensory accommodations, mental health care from providers who know autism, community connection, financial and housing support. These supports, they barely exist for autistic adults. So yes, early diagnosis can give you years of critical intervention as a child, but as an adult, you're often on your own, regardless of when you are diagnosed. That's a gap that needs to change. So what actually makes the difference? So I have 6 things that I think make a difference. 1, access to resources and support. Not everybody gets this, even if they are diagnosed young. Early intervention, speech therapy, occupational therapy, social skills support, these matter. A diagnosis alone, though, doesn't guarantee that you get them. 2, quality of support. Were the interventions that you did receive helpful, or were they harmful? Were they respectful or compliance-based? Did they build on your strengths? 3, family understanding and acceptance. Did your family learn about autism and adapt, or did they reject you or try to punish you for being autistic? 4, self-awareness and self-acceptance. Do you understand your own brain? Have you accepted autism as a part of who you are? 5, social connection. This one's huge. Finding other people who understand you can change everything. And 6, purpose. Have something that drives you, a passion, a career, advocacy, gives you a reason to keep pushing through the hard days. It's really so individual. So there's so many factors at play. And I can't give you a simple answer because there really isn't one. So in my closing, diagnosis timing matters, but it's not the whole story. I've seen people diagnosed early who struggle and people diagnosed late who thrive. What actually makes a difference is the support you get, the people around you, and whether you understand your brain. There's no simple answer because every autistic person's story is different. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Subscribe if you want to hear more like this. And I'll see you in the next one.